What if the little girl you watched walking beside her father at the White House grew up surrounded by history, but the people who shaped her most were the ones she called mom, dad, and little sister? Malia Obama was born into a family that would eventually become one of the most famous in modern America. Her father would become the 44th President of the United States. Her mother would become one of the world's most recognizable women. Her younger sister would grow up beside her through 8 extraordinary years in the White House. And yet, behind the presidential motorcades, Secret Service agents, cameras, political speeches, and global headlines was something much simpler. A close family trying to raise 2 girls. This is the story of Malia Obama's parents and siblings, and the family foundation behind the woman she became. Barack Obama. Malia's father is Barack Hussein Obama II. He was born on August 4, 1961, in Honolulu, Hawaii, to Barack Obama Sr. and Stanley Ann Dunham. His father was from Kenya, while his mother was an American from Kansas. Barack's childhood was unusual even before he entered politics. He spent part of his early years in Hawaii and later lived in Indonesia with his mother and stepfather before returning to Hawaii. As a young man, he eventually moved to New York and attended Columbia University, graduating in 1983. But his life changed direction when he moved to Chicago. Instead of immediately chasing wealth or political power, Obama worked as a community organizer on Chicago's South Side. That experience introduced him to communities struggling with unemployment, poverty, housing problems, and social inequality. It also helped shape the political philosophy that would later make him famous. But Barack wasn't finished studying. He entered Harvard Law School and became the first black president of the Harvard Law Review. That achievement brought him national attention. He returned to Chicago, worked as a civil rights lawyer, taught law, and entered politics. Then the climb began. Illinois State Senator, U.S. Senator, presidential candidate, and finally, President of the United States. But there was another title Barack Obama valued deeply. Barack and Malia, father and daughter. Malia was born in 1998, years before Barack became president. At that point, he was a young father building a political career. Malia therefore experienced something extraordinary. She watched her father become more famous as she grew older. First, he was a politician in Illinois, then a U.S. senator, then a presidential candidate, and eventually, the most powerful political figure in America. When Barack won the 2008 presidential election, Malia was only 10 years old. Suddenly, the private world she had known was gone. Her father was now one of the most recognizable people on earth. And she was no longer simply Malia Obama. She was the president's daughter. Barack has spoken warmly about his daughters over the years and has emphasized the importance of family. Even while leading the country, he tried to maintain family routines. Meals together, family vacations, birthdays, school events, and ordinary father-daughter moments whenever possible. Because the presidency might have belonged to the nation, but his daughters still belonged to him. Michelle Obama, Malia's mother. If Barack Obama became the political face of the family, Michelle Obama became a powerful public figure in her own right. Michelle LaVaughn Robinson was born on January 17, 1964, in Chicago, Illinois. She was raised on Chicago's South Side by her parents, Fraser Robinson III and Marion Shields Robinson. Her father worked for the city of Chicago and lived with multiple sclerosis. Her mother, Marion, was a homemaker who later became an important part of the Obama family's life. Michelle grew up in a modest household but was pushed toward education. And she excelled. She attended Princeton University, where she earned a bachelor's degree. She then attended Harvard Law School, earning her law degree in 1988. After graduating, Michelle returned to Chicago and worked at the law firm Sidley Austin. And that's where she met the man who would eventually become her husband. How Barack met Michelle. This part of Malia's family story is almost like a movie. In 1989, Michelle was working at Sidley Austin when Barack Obama joined the firm as a summer associate. Michelle was assigned to advise and mentor him. At first, she reportedly didn't view him as a potential romantic partner. But Barack persisted. They began dating. Their relationship grew, and on October 3, 1992, Barack Obama and Michelle Robinson were married in Chicago. Their marriage eventually became one of the most recognizable partnerships in the world. But there was something important about their relationship. They built their family before the presidency, before the White House, before the global fame, before Barack became a political superstar. They were already husband and wife. And then came their daughters. Malia, the first Obama daughter. On July 4, 1998, Barack and Michelle welcomed their first daughter, Malia Ann Obama. Her arrival came during the period when Barack was still developing his political career. The family lived in Chicago. Malia's early years were relatively private compared with what would come later. She had parents who worked demanding professional jobs. She had grandparents nearby. And eventually, she gained a little sister. That little sister would become one of the most important people in her life. Sasha Obama, Malia's little sister. On June 10, 2001, Barack and Michelle welcomed their second daughter. Her full name is Natasha Obama, although she has always been widely known as Sasha. Sasha is about 3 years younger than Malia, and the sisters grew up together through an extraordinary family journey. When Sasha was born, Barack had not yet become president. He was still building his political career. But by the time Sasha was a young child, her father was already a national political figure. Then came 2008. Barack Obama won the presidency. And suddenly, the two sisters were about to become the youngest children to live in the White House in decades. Malia and Sasha, sisters in the spotlight. Imagine growing up with a sibling who doesn't need an explanation when the world feels strange. That's what Malia and Sasha had. They understood each other's reality. They knew what it felt like to walk through airports surrounded by Secret Service agents. They knew what it felt like to have photographers following their family. They knew what it meant when their father's face appeared on television almost every day. And they experienced the White House together. For 8 years, they shared a childhood unlike almost anyone else's. But their parents were determined to prevent the presidency from becoming their entire identity. Michelle Obama has spoken extensively about wanting her daughters to have structure and normality. They had chores. They attended school. They participated in activities. They had rules. They had family time. And they were expected to behave like children, not miniature political celebrities. The White House years. On January 20, 2009, Barack Obama was inaugurated as president. Malia was 10, Sasha was 7, and the Obama family moved into the White House. Suddenly, their family home became one of the most photographed residences on Earth. Malia and Sasha had Secret Service protection. Their schedules became carefully managed. Their public appearances attracted international attention. Even ordinary teenage moments could become news. Yet inside the White House, their parents worked to preserve family life. They ate meals together. They celebrated birthdays. They watched movies. They traveled. They played. And they had their grandmother nearby. Marion Robinson, the grandmother WHO helped raise them. Malia's maternal grandmother, Marion Robinson, became a major presence during the Obama family's White House years. Marion was Michelle Obama's mother. When the family moved to Washington, D.C., Marion moved into the White House with them. Why? Because Barack and Michelle understood that their daughters needed family around them. Barack had the presidency. Michelle had the enormous responsibilities of being First Lady. And Malia and Sasha were still children. Marion provided another trusted adult in their lives. She helped with the girls and brought an element of normal family life into an environment that was anything but normal. For Malia, her grandmother was more than a White House resident. She was family, and that distinction mattered. Malia and Sasha's different personalities. Although the sisters shared the same parents and childhood, they developed different interests and personalities. Malia became increasingly fascinated by film and storytelling. Even as a teenager, she explored television and film production. Eventually, she studied visual and environmental studies at Harvard and pursued a career as a writer and filmmaker. Sasha has generally maintained a lower public profile. She has pursued her own education and interests without making her family background the center of her professional identity. Their parents have encouraged them to develop their own identities. And that's important, because growing up as an Obama could easily mean being permanently defined by the family name. But the sisters have gradually created lives of their own. Michelle's role in Malia's life. Michelle wasn't only a first lady. She was also the mother trying to raise two daughters while living under unprecedented scrutiny. She worried about their education, their friendships, their safety, their emotional well-being, and eventually, their transition into adulthood. Michelle has frequently spoken about motherhood and the challenges of raising daughters in the public eye. She wanted Malia and Sasha to understand that their parents' achievements did not automatically become their own achievements. They had to find their own identities, their own passions, their own careers, their own lives. And Malia appears to have taken that lesson seriously. Barack's role as a father. Barack's presidency demanded enormous amounts of time. But he also understood that his daughters were growing up quickly. Malia entered the White House as a child. She left as a young woman. Those 8 years covered some of the most important developmental years of her life. Barack has spoken about how quickly his daughters grew up and how difficult it was for him as a father to see them become adults. That is perhaps the most relatable part of the Obama family story. The world saw a president. Malia saw her father. The world saw the First Lady. Malia saw her mother. The world saw the White House. Malia saw her childhood home. And that difference between public image and private family life is what makes her story so fascinating. The family after the White House. On January 20, 2017, Barack Obama's presidency ended. Malia was 18, Sasha was 15, and the family left the White House. For Malia, it marked the beginning of adulthood. She went on to attend Harvard University and graduate in 2021. She later entered the entertainment industry, working as a writer on Swarm and eventually directing the short film The Heart. Sasha continued building her own life away from the intense public attention that surrounded the family during the presidency. Meanwhile, Barack and Michelle entered their post-White House lives. Barack continued working through the Obama Foundation, writing, speaking, producing and engaging in civic initiatives. Michelle became an author, speaker, producer and entrepreneur. But despite all the changes, the family remained connected. The Obama family's greatest lesson. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Malia's parents is that neither Barack nor Michelle expected their daughter to become a copy of them. Barack didn't demand that Malia enter politics. Michelle didn't demand that Malia follow her into law or public service. Instead, they encouraged her to discover what she wanted. And Malia chose storytelling. That choice says a lot about the family that raised her. Her father changed history through political speeches. Her mother influenced millions through advocacy and storytelling. Malia is now trying to influence audiences through film. Different paths. Same family. The family behind the famous name. Malia Obama's family tree contains politics, law, education, activism, public service and extraordinary ambition. Her father, Barack, became America's first black president. Her mother, Michelle, became an internationally admired First Lady and public figure. Her younger sister, Sasha, shared the extraordinary experience of growing up in the White House. Her grandmother, Marion Robinson, provided family support during those demanding years. Together, they created the environment in which Malia grew up. But perhaps their biggest gift to her wasn't fame. It was perspective. They taught her that being born into a famous family doesn't mean you have to spend your life living inside someone else's shadow. And that's why Malia's journey is so compelling. She was born an Obama. She became a first daughter. She graduated from Harvard. And now, she's building something that belongs to her. A career in storytelling. Because behind every famous person is a family story. And behind Malia Obama, there was a father who changed American history, a mother who became a global role model, and a sister who walked beside her through it all. The White House may have shaped her childhood, but her family helped shape the woman she became.